Welcome to episode 126 of the Trading Without Borders podcast with Omobi, your host. Today we will continue discussions on the AfCFTA Digital Trade Protocol as mentioned last week in last week's episode. We are going to look at the protocol in more detail and just to examine how we can start positioning ourselves to unlock the benefits of digital trade within the continent. What are the prospects? What are the opportunities? What are the challenges that need to be addressed? And also considering the fact that the Digital Trade Protocol is going to be ratified soon, as disclosed by some government officials. So today we will start discussion on that, and along the line we're going to bring in experts on digital trade tech to come and also share insights on how to unlock the opportunities and addressing the challenges within our continent and how to best address that. So before we go into it, let me just do a recap of the objectives of the Digital Trade Protocol. So the general objective is to support the attainment of the objectives of the AfCFTA by establishing harmonized rules and common principles and standards that enable and support digital trade for sustainable and inclusive socio-economic development and the digital transformation of the continent. So what does digital trade really cover? Digital trade is basically digital enabled transactions in goods and services. So that's providing either goods or services through digital means, digital solutions. Okay, taking a look at the market access and treatment of digital products under the Digital Trade Protocol. I'm trying to drive somewhere, not exactly drive anyway, but trying to get us to some facts. But I just wanted to take to review this. It state that the Article 5 Annex on Rules of Origin, that state parties shall adopt an annex that sets out rules of origin for the determination of origin for African-owned enterprises, African digital platforms, and African content. Further, the annex shall define the scope of digital products covered by the protocol, taking into account the objective to develop an AfCFTA digital market, trade in African products, promotion of African firms, and use of African digital platforms. So one key thing I'm going to bring up from today, we're going to look at the AfCFTA digital market, developing an AfCFTA digital market. What sort of tools can be deployed? What are the digital technology tools can be used to develop an AfCFTA digital market, an all-inclusive market that everyone can participate in, whether you provide good or whether you provide services, or what sort of solutions can the government alongside the private sector and of course stakeholders, regulators in creating an AfCFTA digital market. I'm going to talk about the challenges, especially on fragmentation, but looking at it, let's just there's a report by the Boston Consulting Group that in 2030 the African fintech will be worth around $65 million. Sorry, I mean $65 billion, not million, and I mentioned million. So you can imagine the plethora of opportunities that are available within the African fintech space. It's not just fintech, but that's basically what's leading in terms of digital solutions in Africa right now. That sector is going to be worth $65 billion, according to a report by the Boston Consulting Group in 2030. So those are what sort of things that you should start looking at. There are emerging businesses I'll talk about, and maybe in a subsequent episode, that I said that will be coming out of the African fintech space. Apart from there's a lot of mobile payment solutions at the moment. Apart from fintech, there are also other sectors. Looking at the ports, I was watching a video on YouTube on a trade forum. I think that was in Kigali, and there was a statement that about some years ago it took 15 days and 27 steps for goods to transit between, I think, the port of Mombasa and Kigali. But when the port became digitized, now it takes just a step and 3 days for goods transit. So you can imagine those are sort of the solutions that we should start thinking of. Of course, digitized port, government is going to look at that. And there's also the issue of inclusivity, getting there, because for it to be sustainable, it can't just be the big businesses, it can't just be the medium, the small businesses have to be there, the informal businesses. How do we get everyone within the digital trade ecosystem? So what sort of sectors can, apart from fintech, what are the things that we can start looking at, the services, the goods that we can provide to build the Africa digital market? Are there challenges? Yes. Fragmentation, for example, as there's been a law that our rules have to be harmonized. There are different countries in Africa with their own rules and all of this. Some are developed, some are still coming up. So if we are saying we want to create a single digital market, and if someone is coming from country A and he needs to do something in the country in respect of market access, getting his goods or services there, and the rules are not harmonized, that's going to be a challenge. Then we also have the issues of infrastructure that have been identified, which a lot of us know. There's slow internet, and there's also the issues of tax. High tax has been charged by government of various African countries on digital products. So these are some of the issues that we need to start thinking of. In what way, where can I play? If I'm already playing, how can I innovate? What sort of solutions are we going to be looking at for the AfCFTA digital market? So these are the things we'll be considering. These are issues for consideration and subsequent episodes, and we'll be talking more on this. So today we're just, okay, let's share that, let's look at it, the AfCFTA digital market. There are plans for that. What are the challenges? What are the prospects? What are the opportunities? What would we need to, how do we position ourselves? How do we address the challenges? Am I going to, what space do I want to be? Do I want to open addressing barriers and provide my services in addressing the barriers or the challenges? Or where there are already opportunities, how can I plug in? What do we need to do? How do we plug the holes and the issues that are inherent? So those are things, these are ways that we need to start considering in providing digital enabled trade or services. So I'm going to stop here for today, and we'll delve more into these issues in a subsequent episode. And as usual, the podcast is for educational purposes only. If you need more information, you need advice on accessing various African markets, please reach out to me. My name is Omobola Adekola on LinkedIn, and until next week, I'd say to you, bye-bye.